No, Parashat. So, excuse me, last week in Parashat Shmot, we learned about the ongoing struggle between the powers of the soul, the powers of our spiritual power, what we call the neshama, Bnei Israel, to the body, the ongoing conflict of the body, which is called Mitzrayim. And we also said that this time that we are right now in the Shovavim is a good time that is given to each and every one to try to break from the boundaries of the body and to make our own exit, our own individual exodus that we have. And this is called Tkuvat HaShovavim. The Midrash says, and we said also, it says Al Tikra Charut, engraved, but rather Cheirut, freedom. And the freedom from the imprisonment of the body put upon us from Malach HaMavet. And Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, is not a scary angel with eyes and a little goatee and AC/DC kind of a thing, but it's rather depression, feeling of giving up, anger, frustration. That's basically what kills you. So yes, so Parashat Shmot ends with the declaration of war called the body, when Moshe Rabbeinu tells Paro, "Let my people go." He tells him to go, right? But Paro not only that does not surrender, and he says, "Okay," it makes it even more difficult. Say, "Oh yeah, I'll make it more difficult for you." Just as much as each and every one of us, when we try ourselves, when he says, "Okay, I'm going to do the right thing," all of a sudden it becomes the most difficult thing for you to do. Once you made up your mind to do so, all the difficult comes, and that's exactly what we have. And many times, or should I say most of the time, to most of us, that's when we start and when we fail. We can't push ourselves through it. It will be like trying to go into, let's say the doctor tells you have to take a cold plunge every single day in ice tub. So now you went to Amazon, you order your Rubbermaid, the ice thing, you filled it up, and you say, I'm not going, it's too cold now. Let me wait until the summer can get warmer. Or let me build my sauna first.
What if you did it one time?
It doesn't count. So at exactly at this point starts Parashat Vayera, which is our week's parasha, and it starts with the word, Vayedaber Elokim el Moshe, Vayomer elav, I am God. I am the Yud K Vav K. I am the Tetragrammaton. And of course, the question is asked: who exactly spoke to Moshe? Well, who was talking? What was going on? So the Zohar teaches us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many different names. He has different names, and every name that is revealed to us of God comes to teach us or reveal to us another aspects of power, of ability of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in a way we are those who determine which aspect of God would be revealed to us, which is a tremendous new idea. Thank you very much. It's a tremendous new idea by that, and in a way, whether Midat Adin, which is Elokim, would be revealed to us, or Midat HaRachamim, which is the Yud K Vav K, the Tetragrammaton, the J word, and so on and so forth, that we're not allowed to pronounce. Now, the words Ushmi Hashem, Lo Nodati Laim, of course, refers to the forefathers, the patriarchs, right? And shows us that the process of exodus from Egypt is a tremendous opportunity to have the spiritual overpower the physical. At that time, that's the time, and when the rachamim, when mercy is showing a show of force over the body, over the physical. And the story of the 10 makot, the 10 plagues that came of Mitzrayim, which 7 of them are mentioned in this week's parasha, really refers to the tikkun, symbolizes the tikkun, the fix-up of the 10 forces or 10 powers of creations or attributes of creations, as it says, "Be'asara ma'amarot nivra olam." In 10 different aspects, forces, attributes, the world, the universe is being created. So that's how we fix it. And if you want to look further, you can look at Masechet Avot, Perek Hey Aleph. The tikkun of the 10 makot, or the 10 plagues, really allows us the connection to us, to the 10 sfirot of the Etz Chaim, of the tree of life. By fixing it, we connect it to the tree of life. And of course, each makah represents a different type of tikkun, whether it's Yesod or Mahod or Netzach, all the way to Keter. So when you fix those 10 makot, the 10 sferot, whatever needs to be fixed, you're fixing up what enables you to really connect to the tree of life, and then you share the abundance. You bring the abundance, the shefa. And as we can see, by the way, that the man came. And this also comes to effect in the concept of when they were in Mount Sinai, why did they get the 10 commandments? Why not 7, or why not 8, or 13, or 12, or whatever number? Because it refers to the 10 commandments. Each commandment corresponds with a different sfera, where Ani Hashem Elokecha is Keter, and Lo Tachmod is regarding for Malchut. So, by doing so, by connecting through this to the 10 commandments, it really gives us the chirut. It's the secret of chirut, of malach hamavet, of basically death. Whatever death is, we're not going to get into it now. The Shach, which was the Siftei Kohen, which was one of the Mefarshim commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch, wrote also his Sefer Perush on the Torah, and he writes that it's something very interesting, that throughout Sefer Bereshit, when Egypt is being mentioned, it's called Mitzrayma. Mitzrayma. V'yerdu Mitzrayma. Mitzrayma mem tzadik, resh yud, mem hey. In other words, both of the mems are open, because mem goes like this, so the bottom is open. However, in Sefer Shmot, it says Mitzrayim. In other words, there is a way in, but the other mem is out. The other mem is out. So, the remes for that, the hint for that, is that in the beginning, everybody could have entered Egypt as they wish. You want to come in? Chavod. Be my guest. Come in. But later on, once you enter Egypt, the Egyptians started to become very harsh with everybody that entered, and immediately soon after turned them into a slave. And that's amazing. And in a way, nobody was able to get out of Egypt. So the noose around people, whether it's called, the magic that they did or whatever social programs they put in place, became so tight you could never leave. As they say, you can check out any time you want, but you can never leave. Welcome to the Hotel California. The same concept. You can enter, but make sure once you enter, you should know you're never going to come. You're not going to come out of it. And it was amazing. Now, if you pay attention, it was amazing that the situation was so difficult that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to take Bnei Israel Mitzrayim, they did not even think nor believed that they could ever be free or they could ever come out of Mitzrayim. The concept of freedom was foreign to them. They simply erased that. They were so immersed in that. In Kabbalah, it's called a complete clogging. Clogged, satum. In other words, does not allowed the lights, the spiritual lights, to come in, to penetrate and to shine. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, "Vehotzeti etchem," and I'll remove you, mitachat sivlot Mitzrayim. "Vehetzalti otchem me'avodatam," and I would save you from their work. "Ve'ga'alti etchem," and I will redeem you, bezroa netuya u'beshvatim gdolim, and so on and so forth. So Chazal says, "Ve'hotzeti etchem," they learned from that the Egyptians did not enslave them anymore at that point. But rather, they were so used to that they continue in their old habits without any need of the Egyptians to enslave them. I don't know about you. It sounds like big government to me. If you look, I'm going to tell you something. Well, okay, I'll tell you this later. But if you look around, you'll see that today the situation is not much different than that idea, that concept, into many groups of people that live in this country or in other countries. This is unbelievable. And that culture, that habits that developed, they were used to that, and that's the only thing they knew. In other words, it became a whole cycle, because that's what you give to your children, and your children will be slaved, and the thing never ends. And in a way, they develop a certain fear or anxiety from the Egyptians, and you're used to the fact that you need to work for them without even them telling you. And then it says, "Vehetzalti otchem," and I would save you. I would also save you, Bnei Israel, I would save you from Mitzrayim also. So in Mitzrayim, that culture chased after them. And it says in the Haggadah, the mentality, the society, whatever it was, it says in the Haggadah, "Ilu lo hotzi HaKadosh Baruch Hu otanu miMitzrayim." HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not take us, not them, us, of Egypt. Hare anu, we, our children and our grandchildren, meshuabadim ha'inu leFaro b'Mitzrayim. We would have been enslaved for Pharaoh in Egypt. Now, if you're going to look at this word, what we say is meshuabadim ha'inu leFaro b'Mitzrayim, it should have says, anu banenu ubnei banenu, us, our children and grandchildren, would have been slave. Avadim ha'inu. But it says meshuabadim, enslaved. What do you learn from that? It means that it's very possible that we would have been free from slavery, but not free from enslavement mentality. That's why Am Yisrael had to go to the desert to form itself as a nation for 40 years, to be disconnected from the dominant society and form and mold its own self as a nation by itself. But even today, to many people, slavery is being abolished. You know, there's no more slavery, but enslavement still exists. When the fact that I don't understand, people don't understand that, oh no, I can't make it in America. I have the government intervene for me and push me into this college, or they give me some handouts. That's terrible. I'll tell you this, America is a great place. It's a great place. But God forbid, if I was in that situation, I would rather go to, I don't know where, to Mongolia, to Zimbabwe, and work for my own self than to get handouts from any government whatsoever. I don't want handouts. And this culture continues more and more. So in a way, people are still enslaved. They're not free. And I'm going to tell you, later on, Bezrat Hashem, we'll talk about the concept of freedom, how different freedom is in Judaism than the English word of freedom. So yes, there's no slavery, but enslavement there is. So as you know how they say, you can take the boy out of Brooklyn, but you can't take Brooklyn out of the boy. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But it's very, very difficult to do so when it's a whole entire culture as a nation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us from this feeling of enslavement, and that's why they had to fight for themselves. And they had to do business for themselves. And it took them 40 years until they were formed as a nation. Yes, sir.
Is that why that door also died in the Midbar?
Absolutely. That's why the generation had to die. Because if the generation is there, so no. It was better there. Guys, don't worry. It was better there. You had to create a generation of free people, not only in body, but also in mind. So if somebody tells you, I'll take care of you, tell them, thank you very much. I'll take care of myself. God will help me. I'll take care of myself. I don't need your pretty penny. I'll do fine myself. I told you a million times what my father, Allah Shalom, used to say. Better off you work hard and you earn the money and it's yours than sit on your rear end and somebody will give you $100. Much better off doing that. It's yours. You earned it. Because if you can earn a penny, well, you can earn $100. But if somebody gives you $100, I'm not quite sure you can earn a penny. Go to work. Don't get government programs. Don't get handouts. Don't get government incentives. It's enslavement. Why? Look at what happened to the Egyptians during the time of Yosef. He started a government program and they lost everything. Everything. Don't do that. So in a way, Hotzeti otchem, I would remove you. Hotzeti etchem, I took you out. In a way, I took the genes of inferior thinking out of you. And it's not going to be inside of you anymore. Hotzeti etchem, you are free from that concept. The problem is that there are some people who didn't, and they always want to go back to eat shish kebab over there by in Cairo and have some hummus and pita. Better off than to eat some kind of stuff that you eat man from the heavens. And we all know when Am Yisrael begalut, unfortunately due to our weakness, there is a separation according to Kabbalah, in the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Yud Kei Vav Kei. In other words, it separates to two parts, the Yud and the Hey, and then the Vav and the Hey. That's why we say everything, L'Shem Yechud, to unify the holy names. Now, Paro wanted with all his power to make sure Am Yisrael stays in the Galut of Egypt for a long time. How in the world is going to do that? It's very simple. And when Paro spoke, he separated between the letters Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. How did he do that? And he says to Moshe, Hashem HaTzadik ve'ani ve'ami HaReshaim. Hashem is the Yud. HaTzadik is Hey. Now I put ve'ani, and then you have the ve'ani ve'ami HaReshaim. So the Vav and the Hey, the less Vav and the Hey, are separated with the Yud and the Hey, with the Vav of ve'ani and I. So he put the separation there. He put himself as the barrier to separate between Am Yisrael and Kedusha Brichu in order to create a separation for them to stay in enslavement. And how would it do that? What does it exactly mean? By separating the Yud and the Hey, the Machshava, the thought, from the Ma'aseh, the action of Vav and Hey. So when Bnei Israel, now you might understand, when Bnei Israel says, Na'aseh v'nishma, the Yud and the Hey were separate from the Vav and the Hey, Na'aseh v'nishma, we're going to smack them back together. We're going to do it. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu said at that moment, they reached the level of Adam HaRishon before the sin. Na'aseh v'nishma. Not only they walk the walk and then talk the talk, not the other way around. So when that happens, right? When Paro did that, and by doing so, leave them in what we call Galut Hadat, in order, I mean, maybe physically, but mentally, they're going to be mentally slaved forever. It's called Galut Hadat. That's why when it says later on in the beginning of the parasha, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when God comes back on his promise to bring Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim, he says to Moshe, "V'yeda'atem ki ani Hashem Elokechem hamotzi etchem mitachat tzivot Mitzrayim." V'yeda'atem, and you should know. In other words, the original da'at, the knowledge, what it is all about. Da'at is always Lashon Chibur. Ve'ata yadati ki etzem mi'atzmotai. When you're connected, then you know that, like Adam Rishon said about his life. And now I know that she is a bone of my bones, a limb of my limb. She is my other half. You need to have the knowledge for that. You need to have the understanding for that. Then you know that she's your wife. But when the chibur, the connection, is based on a physical connection, there is no doubt, you'll never know. And that's a mistake that many people make. And that's why the marriages fall apart, among other reasons. It has to be chibur of da'at, of the sechel, of knowledge. I know that. This one is this. So, when I will take you from Mitzrayim, you would know by being connected to me, you're going to reconnect with me, with God. There's not going to be separation. And you need to do that. And we know that the koach of Paro is in the nefesh, in the soul of each and every one of us. And beyond the story of the redemption of Egypt, we're talking about, again, on movements and powers and in our spirit, in our being, in our own psyche. And since Paro entered the word ve'ani between the letters of Hashem, he put his ego, ani, I. He put his ego inside. He put his great pride, his arrogance. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu, the opposite of what's his name, of Paro, was the most humble of all people. Because his humbleness was pure. And he was the one who connected between Hashem and Bnei Israel, not Paro with arrogance. And of course, the Mesilat Yesharim talks about these people who are everybody's so humble, so this. You know, and people say, well, what a humble person. And to himself, he says, Aleinu l'shabeach, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. I forgot the name of this Hasidic rabbi, maybe you know. This Hasidic rabbi is a famous story. He was known to as a great humble person. So one time he was in a train station. I forgot the name of this rabbi. He was in a train station, and he goes to the restroom, and it takes his time. So the Hasidim went to see what's going on with him, and they see him standing in front of a mirror, and he says, "You are the best rabbi. You are the most handsome rabbi. You are this," and he's rolling and he's laughing. What are you doing? I said, I just want to remind myself how stupid it is when people give you superlatives. As my son, God bless him, used to say, "You ugly, good for you." He was a kid, but that's what he used to say. I really mean that. True humbleness brings connection, puts things together. When there is a struggle between a husband and wife, be humble. Adam lechavero, Aaron HaKohen. Well, these are all people who are humble people. Shoot for humbleness. Paro was the opposite. I, kochi ve'otzem yadi, I'm the best. So much that he put himself in the middle of God's name. How about us? How about us? Don't be arrogant. And don't listen to what mommy tells you. Now you should know that his great arrogance, by putting himself between him and Am Yisrael, was able to create a disconnect between Am Yisrael and the source of livelihood. Tells us Chazal that Paro is the biggest selfish, egocentric person out there. Not only he was a sadist and a cruel person to a foreign nation, to nations in Egypt, but also on his own people. He was very cruel. When they got some kind of a plague, one of the 10 plagues, when it was up to him, right? When it hurt him physically, right? Oh, cry, please call Moshe, pray for me, help me, help me, help me. But what was on the suffering of other people, even his own people, he didn't care. Just make it harder, I don't care. Unfortunately, there are many people who you guys call leaders that are just like that. Nothing changed. The problem is that we don't learn. Many people think that you have to honor them because what position they hold. They don't understand that you have to honor the position and honor the people that elected you to be what you are. It's a sense of duty and mission, not your born right to become prime minister or governor or president or whatever that is. Or a rabbi or priest or whatever you are. Now, that sense of me, selfishness, spiritually to us also, as we said before, creates a disconnect, but to us also interrupt with the natural flow of divine light into each and every one of us. Those spiritual powers that make us more spiritually in tune interrupts us as well, what we call the Or HaEloki, the divine light. But even the word ve'ani also refers to ve'oni. Oni means my koach. It's the same letters. Ve'ani, vav aleph nun yud. Oni aleph vav nun yud. It's the same koach. So he was saying, listen, I'm the most powerful person there. And it's the same part that each and every one of us that has that kochi ve'otzem yadi, my might, my power, my talent, and my brains. I'm so smart. I can do everything. Without understanding that somebody or somehow is giving you the ability and the opportunity to do what it is, and you should be thankful, not arrogant for that. And listen, let's put it this way. Everybody wants to be free. Who doesn't want to be free? Right? But to most people, they scream, I am free. There's another voice that says, free falling. And that's a mistake. Let me explain to you why. Free, you want to be free, but free of what? Free from what? You want to be free, which is very nice. It's an empty statement. Each and every one of us had experienced this. You go to a vacation, like a very pampering vacation, something that was going to be very nice. You're flying first class Emiratus. You're flying to Wales by Dubai. Everybody flies to Dubai. I mean, it's such an illusion, right? And you're staying in this most fabulous hotel, the most expensive hotel in the world. You not necessarily see the most beautiful views because after all, it is Dubai. What are you going to see? The sand and more sand. But you get the drift. And then in the end of the day, you can go to the other side of the world to be some kind in a private island in Phuket, Thailand, eating I don't know what and having people with banana leaves going to ladies all day long. But at the end of the day, guys, you're still traveling with yourself. And you bring along with you your own baggage. Yes, you might have some guy who's like carrying your luggage from one place to another, but your baggage you carry with yourself all the time. Wherever you go, you take wherever you are. And you come in with your own demons, with your own anxieties, with your own spiritual pressures, with your own fears and feelings and whatever it is. Now, that's not freedom. Real freedom is not it. Real freedom is, guys, real freedom is to be happy. Real freedom is to be happy, to be complete, to be whole, to really fulfill the purpose in which we came to this world. When you have life of fulfillment, when you have life of meaning, then only you are free. Don't believe what people tell you. We have in Jewish culture, we have so many tools and so many ways to really reach this point of happiness. You simply need to open your warehouse and reach inside the toolbox that you have over there and choose whatever tool you need. And, of course, you need to wipe the dust a little bit and maybe grease it up a little bit. But you need to open the keys and to use the proper tools to reach it. You have it. Each and every one of us has it. Guaranteed. I'll put my life on the other line. This is how confident I am with that statement that I just made. Each and every one of us has those tools. Each and every one of us has this Home Depot of his own that full of tools and instruments to reach the goal that you need to reach. Problem is, you don't want to get to the store. That's freedom, Rabotai. Living fulfilled life. Reaching your goals. Reaching your potential. Knowing your destiny in the world. That's freedom. Being happy, that's freedom. Not a big house. Not flying first class. Not being served by 72 virgins. None of the above. Not having a lot of money. Not having a beautiful wife. That's not freedom. That's what they sell you. But that's not freedom. And we really need to take this opportunity to really pinpoint and to really put the hand on the Jewish concept of the words, the difference between chofesh and ben chorim. In English, there's just like freedom. Hebrew, there is chofesh and ben chorim. In many cultures in the free world, it seems like being free is relieving yourself from any obligation, some kind of a heavy burden, and so on and so forth. That's really much to be free, And especially if you look at the people that lived in the 60s, in the summer of love, 1969, Woodstock. I do woodwork, but I don't, Woodstock, Especially here in the United States, people try to live life without any delays. They want to do whatever they want, and they want it now. I want to be free now. They didn't want to have anything to worry about. Uncle Sam would pay. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to be obligated to anyone or to anything or any institution, whether it's state, whether it's country, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your people, whether it's your faith. I don't want any of this thing. I want to be a free person. But truth of the matter is that many research, and even your own eyes, will show the truth that it's quite different than that. That reality really exploded in those faces and the faces of their children that are stricken with depression and with lack of fulfillment, and what we experience today in our society is a result of that. And those percentage of depression and lack of fulfillment are higher in numbers than the regular people that did not go become flower children, whatever it is, hippies. They had it more than anybody else. And real freedom, and the reason is that real freedom, as Judaism sees it, it's not throwing everything behind you and doing whatever the heck you want to do. That at the end, this kind of a behavior brings about your ability to act in the most horrific, behemic way. That brings the worst in you, this kind of a behavior. Right, Sam? The Judaism holds it's just the opposite. Discipline, framework, boundaries, where you know what you need to do. Getting up in the morning, going to minyan. I am disciplined to do that. I'm davening 3 times a day. I'm coming to learn. Kovea itim la Torah. I'm coming to learn every day. I don't care if it's my grandmother's yortzeit, I'll do it in yeshiva. Or it's my cousin's, brit milah, I'll send flowers, send a check. I mean, after all, it's all about the money. Don't worry about it. Discipline and boundaries by helping are the tools that really help a person overcome and contain his urges, his yetzer hara, and direct those spiritual powers that he has into a good place. Because then you become in control on your own self. Ultimate freedom is when you control your own self. Through the boundaries that we have. And how do you do that? Not by throwing away burden, by taking upon yourself the all Torah mitzvot. You're putting on yourself, I want to do this, because that's the most constructive and useful frame of work to get discipline. All Torah u'mitzvot. When you know that there is a God and you're obligated to Him and you need to live your life in a certain way, that's when you reach freedom. That is true freedom. This will help you to deal with jealousy. Understanding there is a God. You know that he got what he got because God gave it to him. I don't have to be jealous of what he has. That's what God gave him. That's what he gave me. Thank you very much. I don't really care. Let me ask you a question. Let's say there is a president that you love very much. I don't know, whatever. George Bush, whatever, right? And he gave, let's say, Idan and Sam went there. He gave Sam a watch, and Idan, he gave a dinner plate with the presidential emblem on it. So who should be jealous? Oh, he got a watch, I got a thing. What, is the watch better? I don't know. The plate I can give to my grandkids, whatever I got, thank you very much. And that's from a president. Imagine for God, whatever you had, got to be very grateful. So when you're free from all these things, there's no kin'ah, no jealousy, no tacharut, there's no need to compete. I'm going to overdo somebody else. I'm going to help him. I'm not going to compete him to annihilate him. I'm going to help him. You are free to live your life. You are learning to act, not to react. Because when you are in this kind of an environment, you're always reacting. You're always playing second violin. We're not talking about Bruce Lee intercept the fist. We're talking about reacting, taking an initiative, engaging. Because if I have to compete with Sam, I'm always one step behind him. I'm never free to live my life. Because guess what? I also never bother to figure out who I am. And that's what Judaism refers to as freedom. Freedom is not, a person standing in the corner of the street and saying, freedom, freedom. I want to feel like a motherless child. Freedom. No, that's not that. That's good for Richie Havens staying in Woodstock playing his guitar. When you live this kind of life is when you live according to, you give freedom or you let loose all the dogs of desire. Oh, nothing is controlled. I want this, I'll take it. I see you have a Breitling store. Okay, I want this. I'm going to break in, I'm going to take it. That's not a free man. That's a slave. He's enslaved with his desires. He can't control himself. He's like a dog in heat. Can't control. But when you control yourself, when you have a framework to work, then you're free to do what you want. Because you are in control of the situation. So therefore, freedom, in a way, is the one who really overcomes his behemic urges and really refines himself. The Torah teaches us how to be b'nei chorim, not free, b'nei chorim. We are all free in this country. We are all free. No, you could do whatever you want, but we are not b'nei chorim. Why? Because we are all captives of the society, of whatever the media tells you, and so on and so forth. You want to be ben chorim? Well, elecha ben chorim ela mi she'osek b'Torah. You want to be a real free, come and learn Torah. If not, get some discipline. If it's a person who is a non-Jew and he wants to be ben chorim, get some discipline. Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go do some BJJ, go run, go do, but be disciplined. Take responsibility. Look at the mirror, laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Call the baby by its name. I'm fat. I'm getting old. I better do something about it. As what's his name? David Goggins says, have your mirror talk. Stay inside of your mirror and then really look at yourself. Believe me, it's not a pretty sight. But it's good. Okay, so just doing something about it. Stop telling yourself all the stories. It ain't a pretty sight. Well, to most of you, of course. So the Torah teaches you how to really to become Ben Chorim is really to elevate yourself over your slave habits or slavery mentality that you have. That's really the best way to go about it in order to really be able to control your destiny, to control the path and to be in charge on the path on what would be revealed to you on the aspects of God, Midat Adin or Midat HaRachamim. It's in your hands. We need to turn darkness, we need to turn our Egypt into light, into a place of big space, of happiness, to break away from the enslavement of the body and to the limitations that the body puts on us. And the way to do so is always, always remember, va'era, lirot, remember with your eyes, with your spirit, that Hashem hu Elokim, that God is God, and He's above all, and I came here to do what He wants to do. And everything is darkness. And the light is in hiding, and we need to reveal it. And our choice is to see it. Our choice is to see everything b'midat harachamim. Our choice is to be kind to people. Our choice is to help people with great love and compassion for any human being with all your power and all your might. Only then you're able to create a vision of power, a vision of bracha, blessing, and miracles. And from that place to all human beings, that's going to be our aspect of our life. That's going to bring the light for us. That's going to make us truly free. Shabbat Shalom.